Welcome to Kasaroglu. I'm Hikmet Kasaroglu, the chairman of board of Kasaroglu Consultancy. Before passing on to our video about the accusation of Turkish citizenship, I would like to briefly inform you about Kasaroglu Consultancy. We are a boutique consultancy firm which serves to investors who intend to invest not only in Turkey but also abroad. We provide any and all services which may be needed by the investors as from the date of decision to invest till the completion of the related investments. Within this scope, we offer a full package of service to the foreign investors who want to make real estate investments in Turkey and those to obtain Turkish citizenship through such investments. This package includes finding the appropriate property to be purchased, making due diligence about the property to make sure that the property is purchased without any problem, carrying out the procedures for the transfer of title, filing the applications for residence permit and citizenship, and following up and concluding the whole process. We manage all this process and cooperate with some reliable and experienced solution partners, such as real estate firms and real estate evaluation firms and any other companies which we believe will support us during that process. We carry out all the application process and legal transactions in cooperation with Kasaroglu Office, which is our sister company. Kasaroglu Office is a reputable law firm based in Ankara with a branch in Istanbul. Kasaroglu Office has been providing legal consultancy services to foreign investors since 1967 with its experienced lawyers who are all fluent in English and highly acquainted with the culture of working with foreigners. Therefore, as Kasaroglu Consultancy, we believe that we are highly qualified to understand your needs, to find the best solutions for you, to guide you to make the right investments, and to ensure that your residency and citizenship applications are correctly and smoothly made in cooperation with our specialized experts. Now I leave you to watch our video, which explains in detail the requirements and process of the accusation of Turkish citizenship by purchasing a property in Turkey. And I hope our video will be useful for you. I hope you will enjoy it.
As a part of Europe, as well as the balanced element of the Middle East, Turkey provides a secure living environment to its citizens, so she has become the center of attention of the citizens of especially Muslim neighboring countries. In this sense, the applications made for the acquisition of Turkish citizenship has increased in recent years. Especially, the applications are accelerated with the recent reduction of the monetary limit for the acquisition of Turkish citizenship by purchasing real estate from 1 million to 250,000 US dollars. In this sense, the purpose of this video is to inform you about what to expect while applying for Turkish citizenship by purchasing real estate in Turkey, what are the procedures, and what needs to be taken into consideration for such application. Pursuant to Turkish citizenship law, those who obtained a residence permit in Turkey and their foreigner spouse, as well as the minor or dependent children of the same, will also be able to acquire Turkish citizenship in accordance with the decision of President. Accordingly, foreigners who have purchased or executed a preliminary sales contract before the notary public for a real estate worth minimum $250,000 or its equivalent in a foreign currency or in Turkish lira will be able to acquire the Turkish citizenship. However, of course, this process is not as easy as mentioned in the relevant regulation. The restrictions on the resale of the real estate and the existence of some additional conditions force the investors to think and plan well before they purchase the relevant real estate. First of all, the determination of the real estate to be purchased and its conformity with the application for citizenship have vital importance for the foreign investor. In order to prevent any losses of the investors, a due diligence should be conducted on the property to be purchased. In this sense, matters such as whether there are any pledges on the real estate, whether such real estate is subject to the sale of compulsory enforcement, whether there is any tenant of such property, and whether it is possible to evict the tenant of the property should be determined and confirmed before the sale. Foreigners who want to acquire Turkish citizenship by purchasing a real estate in Turkey are required to purchase a real estate in the amount of at least $250,000 and execute a preliminary sales contract before the notary public for a real estate with a value of at least $250,000. Accordingly, if the actual value of the real estate to be purchased is below such amount, purchasing a real estate in Turkey shall not have any effect for the acquisition of citizenship. An approved valuation report to be prepared by an authorized valuation institution should be obtained in order to assess the actual value of the real estate to be purchased. It should be noted that the date of evaluation report must be 3 months prior to the date of application. The sales price to be indicated under the title deed and the value stated in the valuation report should be parallel, and both should be higher than the values specified under the regulation. Also, the sales price of the property should be equal or higher than the valuation report. It is forbidden for foreigners to acquire a real estate within the boundaries of military forbidden zones and security zones. Therefore, the Land Registry Directorate should communicate the authorized commandership whether the relevant property is located in the military forbidden zones and security zones. The real estate owner or his authorized representative must pre-apply to the Land Registry Office for this purpose. As a result of such pre-application, the Directorate of Land Registry sends official letter to military authorities to investigate whether there is any obstacle for the sale of such property to foreigners. Although the periods to obtain a response from governmental authorities may vary, it generally takes 1 to 3 months to have a clearance from the related authority. The proceedings in Land Registry Directorates are completed within 1 to 2 days after receiving a positive reply of the related commandership and completion of the submission of necessary documents. After determining the proper real estate as a result of detailed investigations and receiving a positive response from the relevant military units, the necessary procedures should be carried out before the Directorate of Land Registry or public notaries. In Turkey, real estate acquisitions procedures must be performed before the Directorate of Land Registry. Likewise, the preliminary contract for real estate sales must be executed before the public notaries in an official form required by law. Otherwise, the sale or sale promise shall not have any legal effect. During the course of the sale of property, which will be subjected to citizenship application, an annotation stating that the property shall not be sold for a period of 3 years should be added to the title deed. Similarly, the preliminary sales contract signed for a real estate should be annotated to the Land Registry with a commitment that such contract shall not be transferred or cancelled for 3 years. In follows, all the property value should be paid by bank transfer. The foreigner himself or his attorney can execute such real estate transfer or preliminary contract for sale. Just after the completion of the mentioned sale transactions, the related sale documents are directly sent to the Ministry of Environment and Urbanization by the Directorate of Land Registry. Upon the submission of the related documents by the Directorate of Land Registry, the necessary inspections are carried out by the Ministry of Environment and Urbanization. In follows, a certificate of conformity shall be issued by the Ministry of Environment and Urbanization if it is determined that the transaction was carried out in accordance with the relevant procedures. Next stage after obtaining the certificate of conformity would be the application for a short-term residence permit before the Directorate of Migration Management. The purchase of a real estate is not merely sufficient to obtain a residence permit in Turkey, In order to obtain a residence permit, which is one of the necessary steps to apply for citizenship, the foreigner should not be considered as prohibited person under the Turkish laws. For example, the person who will apply for a residence permit should not be prohibited from entering to Turkey, carrying one of the diseases considered to be a threat to public health, or accused or convicted of crimes that are subject to the extradition of criminals. Foreigners who fulfilled all requirements should apply for a short-term residence permit before the Directorate of Migration Management Office with the necessary documents. Fulfilling and submitting these documents in a proper manner is the key factor for the acceptance of the application. Therefore, the documents should be prepared carefully by an experienced team in order to ensure the positive results of the application and not to prolong the process. The application for residence permit can be made to the relevant authority by the applicant as well as his attorney. Following the application for residence permit, the foreigner will be called for an interview with the Migration Management Office for the evaluation of the application. After obtaining a short-term residence permit, an application for Turkish citizenship should be made before the General Directorate of Population and Citizenship together with the necessary documents. Similar with the residence permit application, a separate application file should be prepared for citizenship procedures, and the applications can be made by the foreigner himself or by his attorney. Subsequently, the authorities shall have an interview with the foreigner who applied for the citizenship. It is also important to have the assistance of a professional and experienced team to provide necessary instructions to the foreigners before having the relevant interview. We hope our video was useful for you, and as Kasaroglu Consultancy, we are always here to assist you.